And welcome to Hysteria, the podcast that's had to pee for 3 hours but would rather power through than get up now.
It's always my position and I always regret it.
It's same. You know, it's like the passing a rest stop feeling where you're like, I can do it.
Am
it's
I
not
gonna
a contest.
do it?
You're not going to get a sticker for waiting the longest to pee.
I passed it once and I was with a friend who was like, what are you going to do? I'm like, I really got to pee. And we got stuck in traffic. And so I was not paying attention to the map. And he's like, you better pee in this cup. And we were like 2 miles from the exit. But
you did it?
I did. I peed in the cup.
That's actual skill to be able to pee in that targeted a manner.
There was a Toyota Corolla too.
Oh my God. Well,
learn something new.
Get this woman a book deal. Oh, wait. There's this stretch of highway going from like outside of Las Vegas heading west toward Los Angeles. And
yes.
if you're on it on like a Sunday late afternoon / evening, there are a lot of people heading back west. And sometimes traffic on that stretch is like very, very bad. And there's this section right past the California border that I like to call P Alley, because if traffic is bad, you'll see people just like emergency pulling their cars off and people kind of like scurrying off into the shrub to pee by the side of the road. And it's not very good cover. It's not like wooded or anything.
Let this be a public service announcement, a toilet in hand, my friends.
All right. Speaking of toilets,
yes!
Let's get into Donald Trump.
Perfect.
Can we just talk real quick before we get into the story of, the indictment, et cetera, et cetera, et
La,
cetera.
la, la.
The fact that Donald Trump had all of those top secret documents stacked in boxes in a bathroom. Okay, so we know that, right?
I have thoughts, though.
We also know that Donald Trump has said on the record that sometimes it takes him 10, 11 times to flush the toilet.
Yes.
Those documents are covered in fecal matter particles.
And Erin, I just, my ma always taught me money can't buy you class. But have you ever seen an uglier bathroom? Have you ever seen uglier bathrooms?
I've seen bathrooms that were uglier on purpose and gas station bathrooms that have been uglier than that.
It was a hideous bathroom.
Like, I would be more comfortable if it looked like an In-N-Out bathroom. I would be like, functional, gets the job done, that's it.
Yeah.
Chandelier, gross. How do you clean that?
Oh, the chandelier. And it was low hanging. It wasn't even a high ceiling bathroom.
I mean, I'm not a germ freak, but like that whole image made my skin crawl.
Couldn't agree more.
Universes of super viruses, like whatever you get on a cruise ship. There's like cruise ship virus planets developing on each of those chandelier beads, and it's horrifying.
Well, listen, I feel like the poor people from the National Archives or whoever takes possession of those documents is going to be dressed head to toe like in the movie Contagion.
Oh my God. Too soon. It's somebody's birthday on the 14th. We're recording this on the 14th. You're going to hear this on the 15th or later, but it's somebody's birthday, and I think we should acknowledge it.
Erin, as we record this episode today, it is Donald Trump's birthday. And to celebrate on Tuesday, the eve of his very special day, the federal government hosted an arraignment in Miami where the former president pleaded not guilty to 37 criminal charges because he hid classified documents at his resort in Mar-a-Lago. Erin, this is the first time in U.S. history breaking barriers, shattering glass ceilings left and right.
Shattering glass toilets, honestly.
Toilets. That a former president has been indicted on federal charges. Few other hot birthday gifts came his way. Ivanka gave him zero attention around the indictment as she continues to publicly ignore her dad, but we'll get to her again in a minute. And E. Jean Carroll got the green light from a Manhattan judge to amend her defamation suit against Trump because he's constitutionally incapable of shutting the fuck up. And she is now able to use the garbage he spewed at his recent CNN town hall against him. And I want you to know that I checked right before we got on the pod today. And Ivanka has wished her father a happy birthday on social media. Actually,
did she though?
Not so much a happy birthday. She wished him, quote, a year filled with the happiness you deserve.
Wow. That does sound like something a Scorpio would say to a Gemini. And Ivanka, do not forget, is a Scorpio. Donald Trump, obviously a Gemini.
And let me tell you, Ivanka, Erin, we have said it. Look, grudge pack still exists. We're watching you, Ivanka. We know you have designs on your future that we will never let come to fruition.
No.
But the best, biggest tell in her post is that the only pictures of her with her father, she has not started wearing a bra in any of these pictures.
She's a child.
She's a tiny baby cat.
Child. Before Donald Trump started saying pervy things about her. She's like that little.
She is that little. So you know what? Sad trombone for him. But let us say, have the worst birthday, you absolute fucking menace to society.
Oh, man. Yeah, I guess, like, I don't know what there is to say beyond, 37 indictments young. For a really, couldn't have asked for a better. 37 indictments young. One thing I really loved about Monday. I didn't really love Monday just because Monday was just, or Tuesday. The one thing I didn't love Tuesday. What are days? One thing I didn't love about it was the fact that I still had to devote any mental real estate to Donald Trump at all. Fun story, just quick sidebar. When I was writing for the Daily Beast in the run-up to the 2016 election, Donald Trump was trailing comically in the polls in the waning weeks, as you remember probably. I wrote a story that was like a sort of funny public interest story where I asked a bunch of people, when do you think the last time will be that you ever think about Donald Trump? Because at that point in the election cycle, we were all so tired of it. We were just like, don't want to hear it. And I have thought about going back and looking at it several times, but I can't because it's like, I think we're all going to be thinking about him forever.
Forever.
And it sucks. Every time he's brought up again, it's like, it adds. But Miami, the site of where Trump was arraigned and placed under arrest by federal authorities on Tuesday, Miami had prepared for 50,000 pro-Trump protesters, and only like a couple hundred came.
Yeah.
Only a couple hundred people were there, and some of them were media.
And some of them were protesters.
Right. Well, do you remember that like straight pride parade that they tried to get like some kind of whack jobs tried to schedule at a park in, I want to say, Maryland. And it was mostly media that showed up to cover like 12 morons circling a tree. Sort of like that sort of a deal. It's sad, sad, exclamation point. After the arraignment, Trump went to eat Cuban food in Little Havana. On an off-record stop because he was trying to draw a parallel between his own persecution and the persecution of Cubans. Fidel Castro famously went after everyone who stole secret documents and violated the Espionage Act. One of his main
put them in ugly bathrooms.
One of the main indignities of the Castro regime. Trump's co-defendant. Who is this guy?
Oh, I mean, what is he thinking? Walt Nauta. I think that's how you say his name. He faces 6 charges. He was also arrested yesterday. Here's the interesting thing, Erin. He worked with him in the White House. He was a valet. I worked with valets when I was in the White House. They are lovely. I guess he really liked Trump because the military, the valets are usually military. So he left and he went to go work with Trump, and he was down in Mar-a-Lago, and he's accused of helping him, hide documents in a bathroom. But Erin, here's the interesting thing about this is that as part of, like when these things happen, you get arraigned, you get fingerprinted, you do a lot. Like they're not supposed to talk to each other. Like you're not supposed to talk to someone. Like I have been deposed before, and you're not supposed to talk to other people who are part of the whole crime. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And they're still like traveling
Were you part
together.
Of the crime, Alyssa?
No, I was a witness, not a target. Thank you so much. But they're like still rolling together. It's like Trump has flouted of course he has every sort of like, okay. I mean, I want them to put a house arrest bracelet on him or something. It's crazy. But yeah, they left together. They left together and went and got Cuban food.
Where do you think Walt Nauta falls on Donald Trump's child love ranking? I think he loves Walt more than he loves his sons.
Oh, he is the eldest boy.
I'm the eldest boy!
He is the eldest boy.
He is the eldest boy at this point. Don Jr., Don who? Another thing I wanted to comment on, and this is complete fluff, but it's something that I need to point out, is that special counsel Jack Smith has kind of a haunted air about him, like a True Detective season 1 Matthew McConaughey, like when he's first talking about time being a flat circle. And he looks like a combination of John Turturro and Abraham Lincoln. Look at pictures of the two of the guys together. I will never be
able to unsee that.
Yeah, I know. Great actor, great president. Great special prosecutor, we'll see. But he's been kind of, it's been refreshing to see a person in the position that he's in not be a total media whore.
Yeah, you know? Totally agree. He's just like flying under the radar best he can.
And he's even got a name that I'm like, that's not a real, you made that up, Jack Smith.
He made it up because
that's amazing.
He's gonna disappear when this is all over.
You can stop using your fake bar name with us, Jack Smith. Just what's your real name, man?
But like, here's the other thing that I went a little down the rabbit hole with yesterday. Trump's PAC, the Save America PAC, Erin, they're paying all his fucking legal bills. They're not just paying his legal bills. They're paying legal bills for people who are like tangentially related to all of these cases that he is now like mobbed up in. And it is, I found this out. So $16 million in total, $10 million directly for his legal fees, which is just shy of 20% of all expenditures of the Save America PAC.
Do you think the people who contribute to the Save America PAC care?
Maybe not, but it's like Tom Brokaw used to do these segments back in the 90s called The Fleecing of America. This is fodder for such a segment.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking about this when I was stuck in nightmare traffic on the way here today.
As one is.
Which is that, yes, as it happens, it's a canon event, as they say. I was thinking, what is Trump's end game here? You know, so we're going into 2024 with every passing day. I think that there are Trump supporters who are never going to abandon him, and everyone's sort of just like, but Trump is not gaining supporters. If anything, his supporters are maybe like, he's losing them to like age and death. You know, like he's not like, there's not like a bunch of people turning 18 and being like, all right, gonna vote for Donald Trump. You know, they're not being replaced, you know, if anybody peels off of like the Trump train, or
there's no backfill.
Exactly. Or the people that held their nose and voted for him because of taxes back in 2016, but then voted for Biden in 2020 aren't considering going back to Trump now. You know what I mean? That's just me taking the temperature. I don't know. So what does he think is going to happen?
His end game is he's going to hope that there are like enough Trump judges who will keep punting these right past 2024. He's going to try to keep enough supporters. I personally think, running for president is the mechanism for which he will just pay his legal bills. Right? Mm-hmm. He wants people. He will be aggrieved. He will be hard done by. He will attack Ron DeSantis, and he will attack everybody. And there will be I think small enough, like not small enough, there will be a mighty enough group of people who think that nobody understands them but Trump, who will keep donating to this and just pay his legal bills. I really think that's the whole point.
It's literally like it's a pyramid scheme happening right before, or a Ponzi scheme. He's sort of the Bernie Madoff, except he's way more destructive than Bernie Madoff. I want to talk a little bit about another destructive force right now, and that is this sort of like undercurrent among conservatism that used to be sort of like whispered and wink, wink alluded to, and now they're just like saying it into microphones and having speeches about it. Ben Shapiro's younger, dumber, and somehow more annoying doppelganger, Charlie Kirk's conservative organization Turning Point USA, hosted its annual Young Women's Leadership Summit in Grapevine, Texas. So real quick, pause. What do you think the average age was for the attendees of the Young Women's Leadership Summit?
52.
Exactly. Like there's there was an article recently about a young conservative conference, and the young speakers were all like 58. That's like, all right.
And you know what? As someone 47, I wouldn't call myself young, so they're definitely not young.
Yeah, life expectancy in this country is 80. I think 40 is middle-aged, right? If you're like 50, you're definitely not young if you're 40, you know? It's
young women. Young women.
Young Women's Leadership Summit. Over the course of 3 days, a roster of some of America's worst women, Laura Ingraham, who is 100% not young, not at all, kept alive by the blood of virgins that she keeps in her attic. Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene, also not young. Candace Owens, not that young. Carrie Lake, not young. Okay, like, who the fuck are you to talk to young, like, what?
What?
I feel like if that TikTok video about young baby Gronk being rizzed up.
On his visit to LSU, Livy rizzed him up. Livy even hugged baby Gronk. He might be the new Riz King.
Gave you a headache. You are not young. Like, anyway. So they offered a variation of the same kind of speech, encouraging the young attendees, which, pics or it didn't happen, to give up their career aspirations and birth control. The Daily Wire's Candace Owens wrapped up the convention by telling attendees, every ill that we're fighting right now in society has been brought forth by women. What?
Who knew? Yeah.
We famously invented the nuclear bomb, thus ushering in an age of proxy war and bloodshed in developing countries. That is a thing that women did for sure. So the narrative of the weekend was this is like we're laughing, but the narrative of the weekend was sort of like what conservatives want is not for men to make marriage something that is more worthwhile and valuable to women in our current society. They want women to just be like, they want to just back us back into the kitchen. Yeah. And ignore the fact that in many cases, marriage does not make women's lives better. Marriage and motherhood in American society does not make women's lives better in many cases.
No.
Just ignore it. Just do it. Come on.
Do you know the funniest thing? When you texted me this article, I was like, Jesus Christ. But as I am prone to go down a rabbit hole or two, especially when I can't sleep, I was like, fucking Laura Ingraham, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Candace Owens, who are they to talk? They don't have kids. Because Erin, I couldn't imagine that such evil had spawned. And then I saw that each one of them has 2 or 3 kids. And all I thought of, I was like, that's so sad. So sad. I'm so sorry they have kids. Yeah, but here's another interesting thing. Did you know Carrie Lake was a Buddhist up until 2 years ago?
I feel like she really took a left turn.
Hard left.
Yeah.
A hard right.
She's like,
right.
You know what? I've had enough of these chill vibes. I'm going to be as unchill as possible.
The least chill.
The thing that's the most ridiculous to me is like Charlie Kirk spoke multiple times at this conference. One college student stood up and shared her dreams of becoming a successful surgeon and her concerns that the tension between her ambition and a desire to start a family was going to make her life hard. Her chosen life, but she can't have all. She was like, can I have it all? And Charlie Kirk was like, you're going to have to choose which one matters more. And then he instructed the young woman to, quote, spend a couple of days with infants and see how she feels afterwards. Yeah, actually, yes, do that. If you're a young woman, spend a couple days taking care of an infant and you will be like, holy shit, no. I'm going to focus on my career because this fucking sucks. Infants are terrible, first of all. Charlie Kirk, tell me you've never taken care of an infant without telling me you've never actually taken care of an infant. It's awful. Babies, I love my daughter.
Of course you do.
Might want to have another one at some point. It wasn't like a horrible experience for me, but it is hard and it sucks. Charlie, you dumbass. Anyway. And he told her she'd run out of time to find a husband if she focused on her professional aspirations in her 20s. Woo! And then said there are a lot of successful 35-year-old orthopedic surgeons that have cats and not kids, and they're very miserable.
Do you know what makes me need Xanax? Charlie Kirk, not my cats.
Do you know the happiest demographic in American society? It's women who don't have children and never got married.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm married, but still. My life is not that hard.
So you could be happier, Alyssa.
I could be happier. I could, Erin. I could have more cats.
And this is not to say that marriage and children are a miserable choice, but the way that our society is set up to not support mothers, to not support families, and the way that men in our society are socialized to not be nurturers in a way that's useful and helpful to the women who are having their children means that in a lot of cases, unless people are a little bit more emotionally mature, like marriage and child rearing can like really fucking suck. Sometimes it's like the fault of the people who are participating in it, and sometimes it's like larger cultural forces. But the fact that conservatives are trying to gaslight young people into thinking that your life will resemble an advertisement from the 1950s, like a version of the 1950s that never really existed for anybody.
No, his advice should come with a recipe for a Jell-O mold.
Or maybe a savory gelatin,
same, maybe some aspic.
Oh my God. Do you follow those Instagram accounts that are like wild 70s food where it's
just
like, it'll be like an opaque pink Jell-O ring with like tuna chunks in it. And it's like, you're supposed
Erin, I'm telling you, you know that I've always advocated that we should do an episode high, that we should get high once and do a show. Well, let me tell you.
How do you know I'm not high right now, Alyssa?
Well, you could be.
9:30 in the morning.
Listen, I'm just saying that we should do it, and we should go down the rabbit hole of that Instagram account. We should make some creamy, savory Jell-O molds.
Oh my God. Let's get Crooked to book the kitchen set that we use to shoot our coffee.
I would die. I would be out there in 2 minutes.
You would be like Cannonball Run driving across the country in 27 hours without stopping 100 miles an hour to do this. No, that'd be super fun. But here's the thing. That's what conservatives want. They want to trick people, lie to people, and say that what women must do is give up everything about themselves in order to, like, fall into the mold of the patriarchy already made that sucks for everybody. Yeah, I mean, it didn't work the first time. Maybe if we try it again, it'll work. No, it won't.
They're exhausting.
Yeah, I'm pretty over it.